Okay, so there are a lot of mistakes that you can make as a brand new life insurance agent. And the purpose of this video is to tell you my top 7 mistakes that new life insurance agents make when they enter the life insurance business. You do not want to avoid this video. So many people make mistakes that I'm about to mention here, and you can avoid them if you listen. So stick around. Greetings and salutations. This is David Duford, owner of Duford Insurance Group, where I train and recruit agents nationally to sell things like final expense, Medicare, and annuities, both face-to-face and over the phone. Thanks for watching. As always, make sure you subscribe if you like this content and like the video if you happen to get some kind of value out of it. Okay, so we're talking about the 7 biggest mistakes life insurance agents can make when they're joining or first starting in the life insurance business. Again, this is specifically for those of you out there who are investigating a career selling life insurance, and you get this sense like it's not all exactly what it's measured up to be. And if you do get that sense, you're actually right. We're going to kind of talk about that in a little bit more detail as we go through these 7 tips. But let's jump right in and cover what I think, number 1, is a big mistake that a lot of agents take, that they don't realize the full impact of making this decision, and that is getting a salaried life insurance position. You see, most life insurance positions are straight commission. No, you don't get paid a draw. No, you don't get paid a salary. However, if you're really good at this business, you're likely going to make a lot of money, and a lot more money than had you had taken a salary with a partial commission. And the point here is this, guys. You don't know if you're going to do great in this business or so-so. You might do well if you really apply yourself, okay? But why would you take a salary if you're really good or have sales experience or have experienced what it's like to be on a straight commission? Sure, there's this sense of safety in taking a salary, but you lose so much upside potential to quell this fear in your heart that you're going to be at risk if you don't have a guaranteed draw or guaranteed salary coming out. And where this hurts the most is these new agents that come into this who don't really second guess this, and they start working for one of these organizations thinking they're making great money. And lo and behold, years later, they start to learn the truth of this business, just how much money you can make selling life insurance. And they start to calculate all the money that they lost because of the safety of the salary, and really how much money their organization above them made that probably didn't help them to the extent that they thought, and realize a little too late that they've lost a lot of money to their manager that if they were on their own would have had a huge difference in their lifestyle. So at the end of the day, if you feel better with the salary, take it. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying be forewarned. You're leaving money on the table anytime that you ask somebody to pay you without a direct impact on whether or not you perform. I think jump in with both feet. If you're somebody who is performance driven, you understand how straight commissions work, take the plunge, take the risk. Because if you're ready to outwork the competition and hustle, it's likely that scariness of a straight commission is going to pan out in your favor with a lot more earning power than if you took the safety net of a salary of which it provides. Number 2 mistake, deciding to go work for a brand name brick and mortar company. Of course, this makes sense, right? You've all seen the commercials with the lizard, the gecko, the dude in the call center at 3 a.m. in the morning. And why wouldn't you trust these companies to go work for? Because they spend all these millions of dollars conceivably on branding and positioning themselves. They must be an equivalent opportunity that's good for the agent. Well, that isn't necessarily always the case. Many times these brick and mortar brand name companies don't have the best opportunities for growth, nor the best opportunities for income maximization. A lot of these brands, if you go walk into their office and ask for a job, they leverage or say that because their brand is as good as they say it is, it warrants you not getting paid as well if you're what's called an independent agent. That the brand itself being so powerful, they claim, is why they can't pay you or they underpay you relative to the other options out there, because the people coming in here are already sold, they say, on the product itself. Guys, this isn't the case at all. Anybody who sold insurance long enough realizes it's people who sell insurance, it's not brands. Sure, brands kind of help lower kind of a stress level of making a decision. But ultimately, there are so many agents out there selling all sorts of products that sell these no-name brands that nobody's ever heard of. And the only reason prospects buy is because the agent presents himself or herself as a person of authority that can be trusted and is liked. And it's that established connection with the prospect that allows these no-name brands to compete very well against the brand name companies that spend millions and millions and millions of dollars a year trying to just keep their name out in front of everybody. And the other thing about selling as an independent agent, as we call it, where you connect with different companies and you have access to carriers that are not well known but have good products and good quality products, is it's very likely you're going to make more in overall commission selling those products. And in many cases, the quality of the product and the benefits it provide the clients is a lot better than the brand name products that promote the crap out of themselves. It's strange, but that is kind of how it ends up being. So what should you do instead? I think if you like the brands and you believe in the brands, great. Go sit down and talk with them, see if it's a good setup for you. But make sure to look at the independent options as well. Look at the carriers where they're not brand names. See and compare how their commissions compare. See what kind of service and support that you're going to get. The one thing that I've discovered, at least in the life insurance business, is, guys, it's you that sells this stuff. It's not the brands. Don't overvalue brand too much. Does it have value? Sure. But it's not going to be the difference maker in you closing the deal or not. It's your connection. It's your trust. It's your rapport with the prospect that's going to do that. And that is completely devoid of what the brand is. So never forget that. So number 3 mistake is jumping aboard a captive organization or agency without giving consideration to being an independent agent to start with. I've been recruiting agents since 2014. I operate in the independent world, specifically in life insurance, like final expense, Medicare, and annuities. And we have a host of different carriers. We pay a lot better than the captives do. And I think our overall offering is great for the more entrepreneurial type of agent that's out there. But a lot of people get into this business and they think, oh, this is a specialty organization with one company and they do one thing and it's simple and they look at their program and it's so professional looking. I'm going to start with the captive agency because I feel like their presentation is overall better than a lot of these independent style agencies, which may look a little rough around the edges, but maybe I'll come back to that later on in my career. I think that's a big mistake, potentially. First of all, I think sometimes working with a captive agency makes sense. Perhaps you're somebody who needs more micromanaging. You're not ready to go the full entrepreneurial route. Maybe you need lead financing. Maybe you need somebody to check in on you on a regular basis. Or maybe you enjoy the camaraderie of an agency and reporting in every Friday, seeing how everybody's doing, attending meetings and the rah-rah and all that stuff. If that fits you, joking aside, any at all, that's great. Do it. But for a lot of people, they don't appreciate that stuff. They want independence. They think about the products they sell and the value it actually delivers or not to their clients. And in many cases, not all, but in many cases, the products that captive companies sell are not the best priced. The products that captive companies sell are not the best underwriting terms. And you as an agent going out with a captive agency, many times selling life insurance products, are not giving your client the best value of coverage at the best price. And likely, the other point I forgot, you're probably not going to get paid as much either. So here's the point. As you look and investigate into the life insurance business, do me a favor and look around. Again, don't jump into the first organization that invites you. Vet everybody. Everybody puts on their best foot forward, their best presentation whenever you're looking at an agency. You need to ask the owner or the upline or whoever's responsible for recruiting you more questions. What's this agency like? Can I talk to some of your agents? What's leads like? Can I get some feedback? Can I attend a meeting and just see what it's like for deciding? You need to get as much and collect as much information on this because you're making a big career move. And many times the captives just fall short despite their superior presentation and best foot forward they give. And the worst thing that you can do in this wonderful business is fail out well in advance of actually realizing how awesome it is. So do make sure that you vet the agencies, consider the benefits of independence as far as commissions, pricing, and underwriting quality before you jump into any captive agency do your due diligence and make sure whatever fit you decide to go with, it really is the best fit. So tip number 4 mistake, that this is really important, is falling for the recruitment trap, okay? So if you haven't noticed, there's a big multi-level marketing pyramid scheme-like culture with many of these organizations in the insurance sales world. And it's likely that the companies you're looking at are more obsessed with you recruiting people who have a pulse that you know, who will also recruit people with a pulse that they know, and building this massive downline without consideration of what you bring to the table and what you can do for those people that you've convinced to give up their career to come on this wild ride for. And while I'm completely supportive of recruiting, it's like what I do, it's my primary business, I don't support the agent without street cred and wisdom going out there and saying, this is the best opportunity ever I know because I just got recruited next week. It's stupid, right? I mean, think about it. Would you want a doctor to perform surgery on you who's only read about how to do the surgery but hasn't actually performed it? It's pretty crazy. But this happens, the same kind of mentality happens all the time with mass recruiting insurance agencies. So what do you need to do instead? What can you focus on? First of all, vet your agency you're looking at. Ask them how important recruiting is. Go to the opportunity meetings. Do they talk about recruiting the whole time and building a team and how important it is to start off with that? If you hear a lot of that as equally important as producing and learning how to sell, run. Or even if you hear it all the time, absolutely run. Now, if they say recruiting is important after you develop yourself, that's completely fine. But the thing is, guys, is that, if it smells like shit, tastes like shit, probably is shit, So, use your gut, trust your instincts. It's usually right. And this business has this cult mentality with some of these organizations. The good news is not all of them are like that. I'm not like that. Yes, I recruit, but I don't let my agents without any experience recruit. No, they need to learn how to sell this thing. They need to go out and get punched and get beat up a little bit. Have some great weeks, have some bad weeks, actually have something of wisdom to share with their recruits. And until that happens, no, I don't want them to recruit. But that's how it should be. That's what's going to contribute to a higher success rate, in my opinion. And that's what's going to give you, I think, the most opportunity to earn and the best opportunity really to build an agency because you actually have been there and been successful. Number 5 mistake is trying to be everything to everybody. Because when you're everything to everybody, you're nothing to nobody. In other words, you don't want to be a jack of all trade when you sell insurance, at least when you begin. This business is way more complicated than it's made out to be. All of us recruiters and agency owners that have any kind of interest in building an agency, our goal on some level is try to simplify this business because it is a simple business, but it's not easy. But some people are so good at simplifying it that they oversimplify it. And when you start to introduce different products into a situation that's already innately overwhelming, you exponentially increase the complexity. And anytime tasks or opportunities or processes are complex, there is a higher rate of failure. Guys, I don't know if you know this yet, but the vast majority of agents fail this business. It's around 90% in the first year. That means the odds are stacked against you. You have a 90% chance of failing. And what you need to ask yourself is, what steps can I take to give myself an edge to give me the best chances of success? And one of those edges, I believe, is not being everything to everybody, but it's focusing on one product, focusing on one sales and marketing system, and putting blinders on to everything else so you can learn that thing and be the expert at it. For example, I started selling final expense. When I was full-time, that's all I sold. I could have sold Medicare, I could have sold others, but I was so laser focused on selling final expense that I was afraid if I deterred away from it, that I would end up failing. Okay, now you can hoist and hold different products and cross-sell. I believe it, I see it, but on a very gradual pace. And for example, I think Medicare is a really important product to sell, so much so that I don't recommend agents doing it until 6 to 12 months after consistently and successfully selling final expense week in and week out. Because if you jump too fast on the Medicare train, it's very technical. Final expense is very complicated at times. And when you mash both of those two together, there's a sense of overwhelm that you get that many other people don't quite understand until you experience it. So bottom line, pick your life insurance product that's best suited for you. Do your research, check out the options, and pick that one say yes to that one thing and say no to everybody else until you have developed some kind of intermediary mastery. You're not going to be perfect in a year, but you should be able to confidently go out every single week and write business and not struggle because you're paying attention to getting ready to sell Medicare or something. So one step at a time, we crawl before we walk before we run. And over time, sure, you'll get to that point to sell multiple products, but work your way into it by first focusing on the number one product you absolutely want to sell. Number 6, biggest mistake when coming into life insurance is thinking that like everybody actually wants to buy what you're selling. I laugh because it's actually the exact opposite. Nobody wants what you're selling. And the sooner you get used to that and understand that and just accept that, the better you're going to be off in this business. So what do I mean by people don't want what you're selling? Well, let's take a look, an assessment of what it is that we're selling life insurance. Do you know what life insurance is? It's money when you die. Okay, well, guess what? When you're dead, you don't get money. In other words, it is the most intangible product on the face of the planet. You literally have to die to get this thing. It is conceptually hard to wrap your head around for some people. Some people think it's a scam because of that. And so what happens is it's one of those products for a lot of people, you just put off, you think about it another day, because it's also coupled with what? The most morbid thing to think about, you dying. I don't want to think about dying. I'm busy living. Dying's for people who are on their deathbed, right? Wrong. So guess what? When you start talking about mortgage protection or final expense or term insurance, it is a disturbing conversation. People don't want to have it because it's not fun. It's not like buying a car or a TV or something you get instant gratification out of. So no, people will not want to talk to you immediately. So you've got to be very good at setting appointments. You got to be very good at door knocking, prospecting, learning a script, understanding the psychology of getting in despite that kind of resistance, because sometimes even people run away from something deep down. They know they should get it, and that's going to be kind of the role that you're going to play. So don't be surprised. You're going to get pushback the rest of your career selling life insurance. People on the surface don't want it until you show them how it works, and then basically level with them about their mortality, help them see the hearse backed up against the front porch. Then they start to accept the truth. And it's that moment where you can help them out with something absolutely so important. Last point, mistake number 7 is starting off dead broke. Guys, if you're in this position now of wanting to sell life insurance and you're just not financially ready to start a business, don't sell life insurance, at least on a full-time basis. Don't quit your day job. This is a business. And what business has no startup costs? Like none of them do. Life insurance, luckily for most business strategies, has a smaller startup cost, but a startup cost nonetheless. There is a subsection of people that look at life insurance sales and they think, oh, I got nothing to lose. Might as well do it, right? I've always kind of been a little interested in this. But they don't have any money because they lost their job or something's happened financially. They're in a tough spot. This is not the time to do life insurance or final expense or anything full time. If you're broke, you don't have a means to get in front of prospects using purchase leads, which is our preferred strategy. Sure, you could cold call, but the vast majority of people just don't have what it takes to sustain it for the long term. So we advise agents, at least at DeFord Insurance Group, to buy leads. There's a certain amount that you need to buy leads. And if you don't have it, guys, don't put yourself in a position to blow it on such a wonderful business. What should you do instead? I think you should keep your full-time job. I think you should get a part-time side hustle, and you should save your money that you accumulate from the side hustle. And when you've got enough money to start in a good position to sell life insurance, then at that point, you can go ahead and do it on a part-time basis or full-time if you wanted to. But the point is you got to start with enough money. If you've ever looked at a franchise, guess what? They just don't take anybody off the street. They want to qualify you and make sure you've got the investable capital necessary to give the franchise the best shot it can. Because if you don't have the money, they don't want to deal with you because they know that the business needs a certain amount of money in order to self-promote, to get prospects in, and to close and sell. Life insurance sales, guys, is no different. Make sure you're financially ready and responsible. Okay, those are the 7 biggest mistakes to avoid when starting a career to sell life insurance. And again, just to recap on my list here, number one, don't get a salaried position. At least that's my recommendation. I think it's a big mistake to do so. This is a straight commission, eat what you kill business, and that's where the most money is going to be earned. Number two, making the mistake of working for a brand name brick and mortar company as opposed to thinking or considering starting with a smaller company that with less brand. Typically with brand means higher expenditure on marketing, which means that they're going to take commission and pay you less. Try to avoid that as much as possible. Number three, going captive without first also considering independence. I started in this business as an independent agent, guys. So many agents do. There's so much more upside in many ways if it's right for you. Not saying captive is wrong. It's just make sure you look and compare both, not just a captive approach. Number five, falling for the recruitment trap where you live and breathe the MLM insurance pyramid scheme and think that the way to make money is recruiting. It is really good if you can make it work, but for the vast majority, it's just an extension of the pyramid mentality. You should probably focus first on selling and becoming a master of selling, not getting into recruiting until you've mastered the art of sales. Number six, you come into this idea of selling everything and being everything to everybody. Don't do that. Focus on what you're most passionate about. Cross-sell later after you've mastered the first product. Thinking everybody wants everything that you're selling, and when you think of that it's because you're an agent that people actually want to buy from you, jettison that idea and get used to being rejected. It's part of the game. And number seven, starting broke. Always make sure that you got money on hand, as this is a real business and it requires investment capital like any other. So these 7 tips, please make sure to take them seriously. It's going to give you the best chances of success and to give you the best opportunity to sell life insurance. If you have any questions, you're welcome to leave them below in the comments. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and check out how working for DeFord Insurance Group works above and below. And thank you so much for watching. See ya.